Youre. I am back to do another day of Bookmas. I will say that my setup this year is not as exciting as it was last year because I don't really have a lot of like holiday decor in my bedroom, but I do have a cute hat and a cute tea turtle shirt. And you'll see a couple of those throughout um, this series. But just know that I still live with my parents, so that's why I don't have a lot of holiday decorations. And yeah. But the topic for today's video is books that I hope to spy underneath my holiday tree. We as book lovers tend to want to get books for the holidays. I am no exception. I give most of my friends and family books as a Christmas gift because it's easy, and I hope to get a couple for the holidays. When I'm filming this, it is early November, so I've just put out my holiday list. So I don't know what anyone's going to get me. If I'm going to get anything, I'm also going to Disney and Universal. So I might be doing a little bit of book shopping in Disney and Universal. But here are some books that I hope to get this year for the holidays. The first book that I'm going to chat about is Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett. Here is the photo. Really struggled this year to read adult fantasy. It's been a book series that it's just been a genre that I've really struggled with. But I recently picked up Foundry Side and I really liked it. I mean, I think I read it in about a week and just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice mix of some of my favorite YA tropes, but also with a more like adult twist to it. I really liked the characters. I thought it was a very, very fun, engaging story. The end reminded me a lot of the end of one of my favorite YA book series, and I'm really intrigued to see where it goes. So that's why this book is on my list. And I really hope that I get around trading it. And if no one buys it for me, I will probably definitely buy it for myself. But I did put it on my wish list in hopes that someone gets it for me, so that is why it's on this list. Really hopeful that I get underneath my tree this holiday season is What Was Once Mine, which is a twisted tale, which I think is I think it's Rapunzel themed. But here is a photo. The Twisted Tale series, they all answer a question that sort of turns the story in a different direction. And I have read most of the ones that I've read, I really have enjoyed. So this one asks the question, what if Rapunzel's mother drinks from the wrong flower? The cover is really, really pretty. I've been trying to read more of these, and I hope that this one is underneath the tree this year for me. If not, I will eventually get around to reading it. But I love the take on these because it really dives into a bunch of different characters and really looks at the whole story through all of these different characters' eyes. Some of the previous ones that I really enjoyed, I love Part of Your World. I love the Sleeping Beauty one. And just a lot of other ones I've just really, really enjoyed. So this is another one that it's high on my holiday list and really hope that I get it. To spy under my holiday tree is Under the Whispering Door by I think it's TJ Kuhn, and here's a photo. That wrote House on the Cerulean Sea that I read last November and really, really enjoyed. And I don't know much about this story, but it's a man called it's pitched as a man called Ove meets the good place in Under the Whispering Door, a delightful queer love story from TJ Kuhn. He wrote House on the Cerulean Sea. Welcome to Charing Cross. The tea is hot, the scones are fresh, and the death are just passing through. And I think that like the god of death comes to collect this man from his funeral, I believe. Um, but and Walter begins to suspect that he might be dead. But he's not ready to quite abandon his life yet. So Wallace is given 1 week to cross over, and he sets about living a lifetime in those 7 days. That sounds really, really cute. I know that there's a romance at the heart of it. I really loved T.L. Kuhn, his writing style when I read House on the Cerulean Sea. It was really just a fun read. It was very, very heartwarming. And I know he has wrote a lot of other romances, so I'm really intrigued to go back and read his other works. But this book just put like a smile on my face and made me so happy. I love that this one has to do with like, accepting and kind of living life to the fullest, and also the god of death. I like how it's a little bit whimsy, which is also what House on the Cerulean Sea was like. So I'm really excited for this one and hope I spy it under my tree. The Spy Under My Tree is one that I heard about from another booktuber, and it's called, I think it's called The Bones of Rune. And here is this gorgeous cover. After unique stories that I haven't read before, and this one just sounds really interesting. So just the little blurb that I saw that immediately like captured me was an African tiger worker who can't die gets embroiled in a secret society of society's deadly gladiatorial tournament in this thrilling historical fantasy set in the alternative 1880s London, perfect for fans of The Lost Magician and The Gilded Wolves. I am definitely intrigued. Right off the bat, it sounds fascinating. I love the elements. I love the mystery elements. I love that it's sort of unique and different. I've never read a main character that was a tight warper. It's a tight rope walker. It sounds like it could be a little bit mystical. I'm intrigued, totally here for it, want to get it, and hope it's underneath my tree. Really excited for is In Deeper Waters by F.T. Lukens. Heard about this a lot in like the summer, which makes sense because it's like a historical fiction queer romance, but the cover has always intrigued me. So here's the cover. To me is like a gentleman's guide of vice and virtue meets Pirates of the Caribbean. A young prince must rely on a mysterious stranger to save him when he's kidnapped during a coming-of-age tour in the swoony adventure that is like Gentleman's Guide of Vice and Virtue and Pirates of the Caribbean. That sounds great. I'm really intrigued by this. I still have my eye on it. It might be one that I read in the spring if I don't get my hands on it, but definitely have my eyes on it and hope to spy it underneath my tree. Definitely older. It is quite a bit older, but it still has captured me and I just never have picked it up. So that is why it's on this list, and it is Cast in Firelight. Here is a photo. Youre Old, but I think the sequel and the end of the duology just came out, so I saw those and I was like, oh, I missed the boat on this. But the summary still intrigues me, so I may pick it up and hopefully someone buys it for me. We will see. But the little blurb is a first book in an epic, heart-pounding fantasy duology. Two royal heirs betrothed to be married, but whose loyalties are torn, and a ruthless enemy who threatens their world. Perfect for fans of Sabbath Tahir, Susan Dennard, and Mary E. Pearson. I'm intrigued. I think the cover's really, really cute. I'm here for it, so hopefully I get around to it eventually, or just get it in my possession. Sorry, new angle. This is also a couple of hours later. But the next book I'm going to chat about is a book I heard about on the Avengers Reading Challenge, and that is The Darkness Outside of Us. It is a sci-fi read, and I don't read that much science fiction, but I'm intrigued. So here is a photo. Brianna from Four Paws in a Book really loved, and I'm intrigued by it just by the summary. The summary says, they both die in the end meets the loneliest girl in the universe in a mind-bending sci-fi mystery and tender love story about two teen boys about a spaceship set on a rescue mission from a two-time National Book Award finalist Edward Schreifer. Two boys alone in space, sworn enemies, sent on the same rescue mission. One of my favorite tropes is hate to love when they've done super well. I'm also trying to read more science fiction, so I'm really intrigued by this. Sounds great. The cover's pretty. I'm all here for the queer LGBTQ plus romances. I'm excited for it. Hope I get around to it eventually. Hopefully it winds up underneath my holiday tree. I heard from Alexa and Mackie on Alexa Love Books, and it's called The Bright and Burning Sea. The cover really stood out to me. It reminds me a little bit of the Victoria Schwab series. For some reason, I do not know why, but the cover just reminds me of that. But here is the photo. What about in this video is You've Reached Sam. Here is the pretty photo. Emotional contemporary. I think it has a little bit of like a magic twist. Sort of reminds me of the concept of Landline by Rainbow Rowell. But this book is If You Stay Meets Your Name, and Dustin Thau's You've Reached Sam, a heartfelt novel about the love and support of what it meant to say goodbye. Julia Clark, her you know, she lives in a small town, but her boyfriend Sam moves to a big city and spends the summer in Japan. But then Sam dies and everything changes when she goes home to the funeral. The rest of belongings, everything forget him, but a message Sam left behind in his yearbook forces memories to return. Desperate to hear from once more, Julie calls Sam's cell phone to listen to his voicemail recording, and Sam picks up the phone. The connection is temporary, but hearing Sam's voice makes Julie fall for him all over again with each call, and it becomes harder to let him go. That seems devastating. But very compelling, and I will probably wind up picking it up either way. Again, these are just books that are on my to want list, so I'm just putting it out here. I don't know if I'm going to get any of them, but it's just stuff to keep my eyes on. I normally do like a backlist order at the end of the year, so I buy some of these if I don't wind up getting them myself, but this is just a list I'm putting out there. I hope I get them under my tree, and then I'll report back if I do. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for my next Bookmas video. Bye, friends.